All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball. This being episode 13 of Bean Talk. Now, I see, like I said, the background looks a little better. We're still figuring things out. Looks like
The setup's still a little wonky, but this is the best we're gonna
yeah,
work
right,
with.
right now, obviously camera quality could be better. We might have to make an investment soon, but regardless, let's just get it started. Want to kind of let these episodes open up with some recent news. So obviously some big news this morning. Patrick Surtain just got was it a 4-year, 100?
It was 4 years. I'm actually.
Was it 124? If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. You can get me on the numbers
Yeah.
right now, but yeah, 120 something million dollar contract. Obviously much deserved. I think I heard that this was like the biggest jump since the Jalen Ramsey contract that we gave in 2020. So obviously, like I'm saying, much deserved for him. The only bad thing is, bro, stuck on the Broncos.
That's the one thing. No, I literally told you today. Like, sure, he got his money, good. He's well worth the money. Top DB in the league, specific top cornerback in the league. But he's gonna, still 4 years with the Broncos. So that's kind of, look, like I mentioned before, PS2. He's going to regard his way. He's probably going to be the anchor of that defense, specifically the DBs. You have the guys working around him. Sure, DBs, look, guys he has around him, it's all right to the most part. But Patrick Surtain, he's not going to be picking up most of the load for these next 4 years. It's going to take a huge detriment on that defense.
Yeah, but when you think about it that way, easily you can see that the Broncos are building towards something, and
yeah,
that's
for the future. Yes, it's something. But as of right now,
but that's what this
Yeah.
deal is. This is a deal to lock up, at least your future, because you got Bo Nix for the future, you got Pat Surtain. Now you got to see what else you can build up moving forward from that. But that's just one thing to get into.
yeah, it was a 90. So I pulled it up. So 96 million extension,
96, okay.
77.5 guaranteed. So that's a pretty big extension. Other than the
Yeah, I guess I was a little off regardless.
yeah, but yeah, wow.
I think because it was like 70 something guaranteed, right?
Yeah, 76.
Yeah.
77 million guaranteed,
Okay.
but 96 is his total contract. So that's a lot for a DB, but for
Well, it's the
Surtain,
most in history for a DB. Yeah,
exactly.
So,
Because you said Patsy Ramsey, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because the difference was Ramsey's was 100 million for 5 years. So that's the annual value that I got.
There you
Difference.
go.
But yeah, we can wrap that up here. I think we'll move it into something pretty close to you, something that we've kind of been talking about all week.
We have
Dowdle and
not even all week. I think we've been
situation.
talking about that for a couple of months.
Well, I
for
think
the running
just
back.
just because of what just came
Oh, yeah,
up
yeah,
right now,
So-
more information. I guess
Yeah, so
you
a
can.
couple days ago, they did announce Dowdle was going to be the one. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Pretty sure yesterday. On the unofficial roster, Depth is they listed
Unofficial.
yeah. So I'm saying they listed as Zeke as the one, right? And I know a lot of Cowboys fans were kind of, I know with my group chats, they're kind of going a little overboard about it. I'm like, well, it is the unofficial. And if worst comes to best, if it ends up being week 1 and Zeke is the one, then that's kind of the one thing I'm really going to be, really going to be a little upset about, because I would much rather have Dowdle as the one. Yeah, sure. I know a lot of fans may speculate. Look, he looks like he's literally just like Tony Pollard, same build, same everything. Could it be another situation where he's not going to be able to take the heavy load? It could be, since Dowdle hasn't had the opportunity yet. But when we got this O-line, sure, yes, it's an inexperienced O-line that hasn't had the full chemistry yet together. Sure, we got the anchor Zach Martin there, who is still with us. Tyler Smith, who really built his way up since we drafted him 2 years ago in 2022, in the 2022 draft. You got Cooper Beebe starting at center, who had an outstanding cap. Tyler Guyton as well, and then Terrence Steele, who have my little mixed emotions about, but I'm sure he's gonna find his way around, other than the atrocities he put up in the last season. But
Yeah.
this O-line, their chemistry, they're still gonna get going, but I would much rather have that out the one, just because I know Zeke doesn't have that explosive.
And I'm
that he used
expecting him to
anymore.
be the one.
Yeah.
That's the thing we're talking about here. It's an unofficial
That's why, yeah.
depth chart. And when you look at Rico, I've been saying this for a while. I know you agree with me on this, that he's obviously going to be the stronger point. The only reason I would see a possibility to see him at the 2, and that wouldn't even be for Zeke, that would be for Dalvin Cook once he gets activated on the official roster, would be to be that Tony Pollard to Zeke type of combo that we used to see. And I think Dowdle would really flourish in that Tony Pollard-esque role. If they're gonna hold him back from being the one, that would be the only reason I could possibly think would make sense for them. But we'll get to see Sunday against the Browns.
Yeah, so obviously the official rosters, they're gonna drop a couple days before Sunday. I should believe, since we got the Thursday nighter
And to think too,
Friday.
nothing's even official.
Yeah,
Even if
exactly.
they were the depth charts, it just depends on
Yeah.
how McCarthy's gonna end up using it.
Exactly, and McCarthy, I'm hoping he makes the right decision on this one. I know a lot of guys, they want Dowdle at the 1 spot. And like I mentioned, Brian, just a little earlier, worst comes to best. If Zeke ends up getting the one, then who knows? Who knows? What if Zeke ends up having another, not another? What if he just ends a Cinderella season, ends up going back to his old self? Probably not, But
yeah, let's keep it realistic.
I want Dowdle at the one. That is the one thing I want coming into the season with this Cowboys team. Dowdle at the one spot.
Yeah, usually not. Obviously, we're in full agreement with that, and I mean, let's keep it into Texas on some more information coming out of Stephon Diggs. And I know you had your own thoughts about this, but we hear a lot of things about him, and we obviously take mental health serious.
Exactly.
Stephon opened up about he had a rough time with mental health going into last year. It was probably at an all-time low with his mental state. And look, I mean, to some people they could say, oh, this is just an excuse. Oh, he's just trying to excuse himself. People saying, oh, so was that why you were dropping all those crucial passes? That it's in its own thing. You got to cut him some slack for that.
Football is
Good luck.
You gotta separate the sport from the actual person.
He had some bad performances. That probably wasn't helping his mental health.
Exactly.
Think about that too. So, I mean, look, the main thing, and that's something that he was talking about. I'm assuming it relates to his time in Minnesota, which Minnesota he didn't leave on bad terms.
They just didn't have any agreements with. And I think it was the contract issues.
And the thing with that is that's why he said when he wanted to shake things up.
Yeah.
Obviously at that point nothing was wrong, but he wanted to shake things up in Minnesota. He probably wanted to leave Minnesota and get start fresh in a new location. That's where he went to Buffalo and had a nice.
For the most part, I think he's been involved 2 or 3 years.
I believe he got traded there in 2020.
So 4 years.
Yeah, he played
4 years. Yeah. So I mean, look, his first 2-3 years with the Buffalo Bills, he was literally top 10 receiver in the league just after last season because of all the recency bias. Sure, you could say, downplay for Stephon Diggs, yeah, but this is exactly what happens with football players or literally just celebrities in general. They finally open up about their mental health and just people, they start saying just these excuses for them. I'm like, look, especially with men, that could be the own topic aside from there, but mental health and the sport, you got to separate the two. They interline. His mental health could have already been previously, already hurting him in the long run. That plays into the sport because of his mental health. He's playing bad, then it just makes his mental health even worse. So it's good for him, finally, for him to open up. And these people, you gotta look at the bright side of this stuff. It's not easy dealing with mental health.
Of course not. And I mean, let's also look at, he got his fresh start in Houston and he got voted a captain. So it looks like he's doing better right now. I think a lot of people thought, he was just a cancer leaving Buffalo. But look, one thing, maybe the diva personality was coming a little bit from, his issues. And, he got a new life. He got a better situation. And, honestly, stuff like this, it keeps me really high on the Texans. It makes me think that, he's really buying into that chemistry and he's going to be a really strong part. So, it's a serious matter, not to make light of it, but, hey, any Diggs owners on fantasy, you guys might be cooking on something like this.
Yeah, and so far right now, there hasn't been anything negative coming from the Texans so far about Stephon Diggs other than, obviously the mental health. So this could be a really good sign coming into the season to see if, Diggs could finally found his position on the team. And hopefully, obviously, he gets better for the season, which is what everyone really, really hopes right now.
Yeah, and obviously, we'll see week 1 against the Colts and keeping it on his opponent for next week. I guess, we're kind of touching some really important topics. Let's get into the Colts. Kylen Granson, who is becoming the first NFL player to wear a Guardian cap in game. And, we'll probably just touch on this a bit, but, it's something important to talk about. He doesn't care what people are talking, what people are going to think. It's something that I don't remember the full content of the interview, but he wants to be able to remember his first dance with his wife when he's 60. He wants to be able to walk his dog.
He doesn't want to have CTE by the time he's 28.
And that's the thing. And I firmly agree with this. Who cares if it looks stupid? Who cares if it doesn't look cool and all that shit?
If it's not altering anything in the game, right?
Yeah,
then what's the issue? His helmet's just gonna look a little bigger. Whoop-de-doo, no big deal, right? He wants to be safety. Sure, freaking linebacker's gonna come at him. He's gonna think he's goofy. Okay, it's still a grown man sport. The helmet's not really a big issue there. Yeah, he's just preserving his health. That's all.
Yeah, that's obviously just a big thing here. I mean, I never understand the thing. I mean, you just gotta be stupid if you're actually taking that much consideration into that. But I think that kind of wraps up some news around the week. And obviously, let's move into what you guys had to tell us now. it's about the same people. We'd love more people to come around and give us some ammo to talk about here. But let's go back to a regular in Picasso. Obviously, gonna give us some more Raiders content to talk about. And this is something that we've been talking about for a while. You know, we're both very big on Zamir White. You know, is he a top 10 running back? And, you know, obviously, you know, I got him in one of my other fantasy leagues. You know, there's a big reason. When we were drafting in our league, we were talking about White.
We had Zamir White queued up for both of us. We were talking about both Zamir White in like one league for me and then our league that we're in. So we're kind of queued up there to see if he's going to be an underrated sleeper for this thing. And I was kind of really thinking about this specific because I know we were going to touch upon Zamir White a little bit more. You know, the Raiders had a top 10 O-line last season here, but then now, you know, you come to mention me a little earlier, they're ranked 19th coming into this season.
Which, look, I mean, I will say it's PFF.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're coming from the top 10 O-line. Sure, you know, it's a really makeshift O-line. A lot of new guys there.
Rankings from year to year, they really do not matter.
Exactly.
Because I mean, just something that I remember when I was studying up our preview videos, the Panthers had the top defense in the NFC, you know, by ranking. So you think about stuff like that, you know, how much substance do you put into those rankings?
Well, their defense was pretty
but to
okay.
say
I mean,
a 2-15
no, yeah, to say the best and no, but when you're looking at the numbers and the stat, I mean, look, even when I was peeping the Cowboys game, their defense had us unlocked for most of the time.
No, and look, I'm not gonna take it away. If anything, you know, that's gonna strengthen my pick that, you know, I think the Panthers are gonna do a little better this year. But yeah, I think we're actually getting a little off track on the Zamir White thing. But yeah, just to say, you know, that's the only bad thing I could really say about Jameer. You know, he might struggle because of that. And I guess the only other thing, you know, maybe they're trying to build up Brock Bowers and, you know, build up the pass game because, you know, you would expect that to be, you know, the strength of the Raiders. So, but something you always say, you know, if you can establish that run game, then that obviously is going to open up that pass game. Something.
Exactly. The thing is, literally, right, you took the words right out of the mouth. If Zamir White, if he ends up breaking out this season, which, you know, a lot of people expected to do, and, you know, with his time with Georgia, sure, he wasn't having those really, you know, eye-opening really games, right? But he was getting the work done for Georgia on the ground, and he was really clutch for them for the most part here. Coming to this Raiders team in this offense where, you know, you're looking at this offense, the quarterback situation, you got Minshew, the weapons you have Jacoby Myers, so you guys still have for a couple more years. Brock Bowers, and then you guys got Michael Maher. You guys have...
Forget about Devontae.
Yeah, Devontae as well, who you would expect to hopefully, you know, not complain and not request a trade mid-season because of the QB type play here, but if Zamir White, these first couple weeks, if the Raiders start seeing something in him, the run game keeps going, maybe the quarterback situation won't be a big factor. Maybe the pressure will come off Minshew. Same with everything. Establish that good run game. The pass game is going to be easily wide opened up and less stress off the QB. Honestly, any decent football fan, they should know that by now. But with Zamir White, I do have some hope for him at the run game. Looking at the running backs in the league, though, you know, it's still top 10. Could be decently hot take, but it's doable.
You know, how many like really big time running backs are there going to be? And if we're talking just specifically this year, I think absolutely Zamir White can be a top 10 running back just because, I mean, off the top of your head, you know,
Gibbs, Bijan,
CMC, and Kyren. That's probably going to be, you know, your top five guys. Zamir White could even sneak into that bunch, you know, if the Raiders are able to establish. And look, if the pass game struggles for the Raiders, that might be something that, you know, Zamir White could, you know, really, you know, open himself up for that. But we'll move it into, you know, Carbs. He sent us 3 different things to talk about. So, I mean, we'll start off with, you know, I guess, you know, got to say the funny stuff. I mean, you know, is Rattler ready to be the GOAT? And just, you know, shitting on Bo Nix.
Rattler. I actually want to establish that a little more.
Oh, I mean, if we're gonna, I mean, look, we got into this already a bit. You know, we think, you know, Spencer Rattler's absolutely probably gonna get into the by mid-season tail end of the season.
I already called it before during the.
I said week 11. You said week 8.
Yeah, so week 8, and so by mid-season for him, we're right about the same ballpark there. You know, when I was keeping up with Rattler, I think when he was at OU, right?
Well, that's when he
first.
That's when he came up.
That's what I'm saying. And then he broke out, and then he struggled. He struggled, then he got replaced by Caleb, and then he transferred to South Carolina, right? Yeah. That's where he started drawing more eyes. He improved better.
Well, but that's what his character issues were.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
the whole reason he struggled in Oklahoma ever since high school. You know, he had these characters.
We saw when the videos leaked.
He had a huge ego, and that was the thing about him. But look, he's matured. I think he's definitely gonna have an opportunity because, like I always said, you know, I'm a big expecting on Derek Carr to have a really poor season, and I think he's gonna be able to really grow into himself. And look, on the other side, you know, You're still hating on Bo Nix. I mean, I can't understand why. I mean,
Carbs is the #1 Bo Nix hater that we know.
and
He was going crazy in our group chat.
I mean,
when I don't know what
it's just the Oregon hate. I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, for whatever reason, you know, yeah, we're gonna keep getting that every week. I'm pretty
And
sure
we're
just
gonna
some
keep
random
talking
Bo Nix hate, and every week we're gonna tell you he's gonna have some success in this Broncos offense. I mean,
it might not be early. It might not be early this season.
Yeah,
but it could be soon.
And you know, okay, and if he struggles out the gate, look at the team he's on. That's you know the one thing I'm gonna say. All he really has is Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton is basically the only weapon he really has. So, you know, do you really expect him to succeed so far? I think he's going to show us a lot of flashes. That's the only thing.
He's going to show us a lot of raw ability. Come for this season, you know. But like you said, the trajectory of the team that he's on here, and you know, if he ends up struggling this season, I'm going to expect Carbs to send a lot of notes about saying, "What I told you so," this and that, blah blah blah. But Carbs, you gotta justify this Bo Nix hate for once.
You know, and we'll have him on. Like you said, you know, we're gonna have him on, and we're gonna have the Bo Nix.
We'll have a 10-minute segment specifically for him about justifying his hate for Bo Nix.
And moving into his last one, I mean, Sam Darnold going all the way with Jettas. I mean,
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, short answer, no.
Yeah,
I mean, we went into this.
Like, look, we have
in the North video.
Look, we have our love for Sam, USC boy, but let's be real here. I don't expect them going far at all.
No,
I mean, I called them. Look, we both called them missing playoffs, right? I know.
I mean, I have my 6.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just just clarifying, double checking real quick. We don't have them going into the playoffs. I'd still expect a really great, you know, expectful Jetta season, right? Even with Darnold.
But it's gonna be in spite.
But it's gonna be because of him, and you know, what if they end up, you know, doing well? Still got him calling playoffs, and it's just gonna be another detriment for Jettas, dude.
Yeah, and
just long story short.
And you know what? And yeah, Carbs, you sent us 3. You know, we'll also get into, you know, what of our top rookies. I think we kind of already got into that. Yeah. Look, honestly, we don't have these outrageous hot takes. You know, I think last year, really, if we're thinking about it, you know, you had JSN, I had Ant Rich for the Rookie of the Year picks. Look, I mean, if the only thing I guess. Maybe we could talk about, you know, who we really think is going to struggle. And, you know, I have a real hot take about this. I think Malik Neighbors could really struggle, you know.
I mean, a lot of people do think that just because of Daniel Jones.
But here's the thing. Well, a lot of people think, okay, you look at what we just said about Jettas, he's still going to absolutely succeed despite Sam Darnold being his quarterback. People are arguing the same thing about Malik Neighbors, that he's going to be that one bright spot. I don't see that much. I think he's not, I mean, he'll probably still be a top 5 rookie receiver, but, you know, my attention's mainly going on Marvin and Odunze, arguably even... What's the guy?
Adonai Keon?
Oh, actually, you know,
those are 2 of my guys.
Adonai
Keon are 2 of my guys. That's what I was gonna talk about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm big on Keon too.
Which rookie you talking about?
Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas.
Oh, that's why. You clicked at the same time. Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, you have your guys, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's deal. Like Adonai and obviously my Texas boy Adonai and then Keon from FSU. Keon is so far 1 for me. Like if we're leaving the most biased one right now, which is MJ, I obviously still have him being one of the succeeding ones. Outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., it's Keon arguably going to be my #1 here. When we're looking at this Bills offense, I'm going to expect him to be the one here. I already explained it before. In that receiving core, Allen's going to have a lot of help. I have him winning the division as well. I think Keon coming into this run as the receiver 1, him showing out really, really early and getting that 1-2 connection with Josh Allen established early is why I have, you know, Bills as one of my top teams coming into this season. Same with Adonai. The thing is, he's going to be sharing snaps with Michael Pittman Jr., but, you know, with Michael Pittman, he's already established himself as a top receiver in the league.
That's going to be a tandem.
Exactly.
And obviously, I mean, I talked about this in the South video. I really do see Adonai Mitchell jumping over Josh Downs into that second position.
I love Josh Downs too. He had a pretty good rookie season last year as well. You can see what type of player Josh Downs is just by looking at him. But honestly, when I'm looking at Adonai
and the type of rise for Mitchell, I could see him having a rookie season. I mean, you know, injuries aside, let's hope that doesn't happen. But I see a rookie season very similar to Tank Dell for Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if he ends up jumping to the 2 spot in the season, you know, good for me. That'll be good for my heart that I'm rooting for my boy Adonai. But Keon and Adonai, those are the 2 main guys I'm really, really excited to watch this season.
All right, so, I mean, I don't know how long this has already been going. I'm pretty sure we stretched it out a bit. We're almost running out of our time in this room. But, I mean, let's close this out. Let's get into, you know, week 1 is finally here. At the time this video's out, today is week 1. Today is kickoff. We're kicking it off from Arrowhead. And let's get started. I mean, the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna post a graphic for all our picks on Saturday. The Thursday game isn't gonna be considering this week the Friday game as well. So we'll get into those two right now. Thursday night football, NFL kickoff, the Baltimore Ravens and the Chiefs, a rematch of the AFC Championship. Let's just get into. I mean, okay, yeah, you're already giving right away, and I mean
the thing is, I was struggling about this whole week because one day I'll lean to the Ravens, right, and then one day I'm leaning towards the Chiefs, and then just going back and forth. But I settled on the Chiefs on this.
No, I'll tell you. I mean, I set up the sheet with our predictions this season. I had this game locked up like a month ago. I knew I was going with the Chiefs. I mean, this is, relatively easy for me. Like I said, this is the start of the Mahomes MVP campaign for me. That receiving game that I'm gonna go into it over and over. I'm very high on them this year. So obviously, very much of a consensus here. The only thing that we will say, maybe that receiver team might struggle a bit because they're out on Hollywood Brown, and that's going to be
missing till mid 6 to 8. I think that was another 6 to 8 situation. Yeah, because he's out. He's out.
And obviously, I think he's been out. So I think at least week 4 is what I think.
Because Rashi is gonna be taking the 1 spot. He is.
Then also expect Worthy to really start breaking into
exactly here, and Rashi's another guy I've been really supporting since last season, even after the situation, even through with the driving and whatnot. Rashi, I'm still rooting for Rashi Rice. Him to get into 1 spot. We're gonna see if he's gonna be able to live up to that expectation. I know how last season. Hope it's another last season where you had your Kadarius Toney take from the first week game. I've been taking the more of the load because of the injury to Travis Kelce. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me, but Rashi's a far better player here.
Well, no one's debating that there. There's a couple takes from last season that I'm not going to live down, but hey, look, let's move it into the Brazil game, a Friday game in week 1. That's a little different for us, going into South America for the first time. And look, I'm gonna have the Eagles winning this game. I think it's gonna
another consensus. So 2 for 2 so far.
2 for 2 so far, and look, and that's despite losing Devin White for week 1. He's not making the trip down to Brazil. I think, that is going to hurt this defense because the front 7 is going to be their strong point. But I think we're gonna see the emergence of this the secondary. With a very young secondary with the experience from C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think little by little they're gonna be able to stifle Jordan Love just a little bit. Not too much though, because I really do expect it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. It's going to be like a 31-24 type game. I don't know what you're thinking.
I'm going to expect a high 20s game.
Okay.
I'm going to expect a high 20s game for this one. When we're looking at Jalen and Jordan, it's going to be a quarterback shoot between these two. And when you're looking at the core of the Packers, Christian Watson and Dontavion Riggs, Romeo Doubs, those are all 3 really, really young guys going up against a really young secondary. And we said it already. Oh my God, my brain just passed out. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, they're going to be the 2 starting corners for that game. If I think Philadelphia already established that. If I'm not wrong, someone fact check me on that one. But the 2 rookies, they're going to get the start against these young future stars of this Packers, the wideouts here. Specifically looking at Christian Watson. He's the main guy here, but the guy I'm really looking at is probably Dontavion Wicks. I would expect them to hopefully be the leading target for Jordan Love right there.
And that's something that, I kind of honestly spaced out. I don't know if you already mentioned this, but just that we know that they don't have a top receiver.
Yeah, we have mentioned it.
No, I just mean right now because I kind of spaced out. Yeah, but
their core can literally rotate. Yeah, they're rotating. They don't have a strong one yet. Literally any receiver on that team, and there could be the one.
We just, at least my take is that if anyone's gonna take that one role, it's probably gonna be Watson. But you can argue, guys like Wiggs, Dobbs. Honestly, if anyone's gonna, really have a breakout on this season, I would say Dobbs because I've been really high on him ever since last season. But I really do think, it's gonna be a game by committee. Carbs, you're hearing this, you're not liking that we're going against you week 1. But look, it's gonna be a loss. I'm very high on the Eagles. He obviously has them win the division. Don't think this is us hating on you. In the next coming weeks, you're gonna see. We're also pretty high on the Packers. They're gonna be a playoff team. Just you're going up against a really good team.
Yeah, and this Philadelphia team, sure, they do have some little knickknacks on both sides of the ball, but they really bolstered up this offseason. And the thing is, Jalen Hurts, this week 1 game coming into a Packers team that's not supposed to be looked at down upon. We're going to see if Jalen is going to get it done against that defense, or if we can see same with Jordan Love.
We could also see what Kellen Moore's offense is going to look like.
Kellen Moore. I already know my experience with Kellen Moore. We're going to see what the heck Kellen Moore is going to draw up for that Philly offense. I already had my time with him, and that's one thing I want to say. Philly fans, I'm sorry if it ends up going, reverse because of Kellen, but without a doubt, these quarterback play is gonna be a really great quarterback play for this game on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's obviously, you know, one of the bigger things that, you know, I guess we didn't really go over overall in this game, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a great matchup, and you know, obviously, only gonna get into those two for now. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, we could get into it, but we know the storyline. You know, the Rams Lions. You know, the Stafford Bowl. You know, obviously that, and then, you know, two really good defenses getting into
Cooper facing Dallas.
I mean,
Rico getting
but I
one.
mean, you know, let's see how CD. I know you're saying out of camp, you know, CD's looking nice. We'll see if he can actually avoid that rust getting into this. But no, I think that's gonna wrap us up for episode 13. Definitely. I think the rust is getting off, you know. Like we said, you know, there's the sun seeping through.
It's still a work in progress, so we're gonna figure out a lot of stuff from the time being.
Of course, but I mean, happy kickoff, everyone! Just so happy we finally made it after, you know, from February to September, you know, football. We're finally here. This year's just starting for us. Football's finally here. That's the part that I've been waiting on. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you like and subscribe and come back. I believe the next video will be week 1 recap. Can't wait to finally get that started.